What's up guys? Today we're going over the Dunlop SX 300 Tour, and I'm going to tell you guys why I think this is one of the best spin rackets on the market right now. This is a line that they have other rackets in this line, but this is the one that I wanted to try the most. It's got a little bit more weight in it. You know, it's similar to a Pure Aero 98, Extreme line, and some other spin lines like a B-Core. I currently use the Extreme Pro. So this is a racket that should fall into, you know, the type of racket that maybe I would like to play with, or maybe some other spin racket users would like to play with as well. Special shout out here to Trey from Winners Only. I know that he recently switched to this racket and he loves it.
I have more access to the wide serve with this thing, which I actually suck at. Yeah. I like this thing. Let's go. Come on. We've done it. Big shout out to Dunlop. We're so excited to partner with them.
Absolutely pumped.
I'm moving forward with the XX 300 Tour. Will this take me to the 4-5 level?
He's a club player. He's grinding. Dude, I see you. You're getting better. I love the improvement. So if he sees this video, cheers to Trey, guys. He is using this racket and he loves it. So he's not the only one that's loving this racket out there. There's a few other people online that I've seen that really are enjoying this playtest. Big thanks to Tennyson for sending me this racket my way. Without them, this video is not possible. So big thanks to them. If you want to buy this racket or any other racket, strings, shoes, tennis equipment, please use my code. You guys can get a discount there as well. So first of all, this racket is quite unique. I don't think I've actually played with a racket that plays quite like this. The paint job. There's not many paint jobs that look like this. It's got like this green, but then it has like this lemon lime color through the throat here. There's also some it's like a groove that runs through from here. So there's some texture here when you have the racket in your hands. It doesn't bother me, but if you're someone that likes that like super traditional feel through the heart, throat, neck area here, then maybe you won't like how it feels, but it didn't bother me at all. The beam is quite thick. I'll get into that a little bit later. But overall, I'm a fan of the paint job. I have liked the Dunlop rackets in the past. I only have tried the FX line. I have not tried the CX yet, but this SX line is very good. So we're gonna get into that here now. One last thing, Restring Sync 50 pounds. That seems to be my go-to review string when I'm doing rackets for review. Why? Because it just brings, you can really feel everything out of the racket. Because this string is so control oriented, you really feel all the properties of a racket because this string is so control oriented. So how does this racket play? Well, from the back, on your forehand, it's an absolute tank. You can really let it rip. You get tons of power, you get tons of spin, and to be honest, considering those categories are so high and you get so much spin and power, the control is not as bad as you would think. I like the control on this racket a little bit more than even the Pure Aero 98, formerly known as the VS. For some reason, I find the control better with the 100 Pure Aero versus, you know, the 98. I don't know why, that's just me, but I like the control just as much as those rackets, if not better. The launch that you get on the forehand is one like I've never seen before. If you can handle it, then go for it. You can tone it down with a super control string. You can even string it tighter if you want, like 54, 55 pounds. You can really go for it like upper 50s, but might want to watch your arm there. So on the forehand, you can really let it rip, especially if you have, you know, good technique and you let your arm really go through it. Same on the backhand as well. If you're someone that tends to hit your backhand a little short, you're going to get extra net clearance and extra depth with this racket. It's one thing about those power spin frames, they give you that free depth, and that's one thing that I noticed even just hitting with my dad here. It's effortless depth. A lot of people talk about effortless power. You really get effortless spin and depth, and that just comes from, you know, maybe it's the thick beam with this racket. They got an interesting grommet system up here. I don't like to get too much into the tech, but you know, it does matter sometimes. But yeah, really good from the baseline if you're willing to have that extra power and you can put a controlled poly in here. If you put, you know, a very soft poly, elasticy, thinner gauge, I think you might start spraying. You might not be able to handle it if you're more of an advanced player. But I'm gonna give this a very high grade. I really enjoyed it. 8.5 out of 10 for the groundies with this racket. Hey guys, are you guys tired of losing to players you should beat? Well, trust me, I know that feeling. After 4 years of college tennis, I've packed everything into one system that works. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna win every single match you play, but you'll definitely win more. Look, most players only focus on one aspect of their game, but this trifecta tennis system will help you improve your court skills, on-court conditioning, and your mental game, all in just 90 days. This complete tennis performance bundle will give you step-by-step videos, workout plans, and mental strategies to help you fit it in your busy schedule. Click the link below to level up your game for just $27 and get a 30-day money-back guaranteed if you're not satisfied with your results. So with that, stop wondering why you're stuck and start winning matches you should. Now let's get back to the video. Now up to the net. Normally these types of rackets don't do as well. It wasn't amazing. It definitely got the job done. The volleys were good. Sometimes with stiffer frames, spinny power frames, you can lose some directional control at the net. I still got good access to depth with the volley, but didn't feel as connected to the bed as, say, some other rackets, even my Extreme Pro. You know, that's expected though, but you definitely get the job done. You can volley well. I'm gonna put it at a 7 out of 10 right now, which is actually a pretty good score for a racket like this. Now serving with this racket, I was so surprised at this category because I feel like, you got pure drives, you got puros, V-cores, E-zones, rackets that tend to play with a little bit more power and spin that you can hit a big ball with. You hit big serves with these types of rackets. I struggled a lot on serve with this racket. I don't know why. Actually getting access to power. I don't know if it's the maneuverability overhead felt slow or something in here just felt very clunky. And I actually would say that the speed of my serve was down, maybe in between 3 to 5 miles, if I had to guess, but definitely a noticeable amount. I had a hard time hitting my spot with pace. This is something that I can do with other rackets, with my Extreme Pro in other reviews, and I cannot pinpoint exactly why this was happening. With kick serve, decent, slice serve decent, but still the ball speed was down quite a bit, which is so strange because the ball speed in the rally with this racket is very high with a lot of spin, with a lot of launch. So you would think hitting kick serves, hitting flat serves, there's gonna be a lot of action on the ball, bouncing and moving through the court, but I didn't get that. So I was actually quite disappointed on the serve with this particular racket, so we're gonna actually put it 5 out of 10. Returns with this racket, pretty solid. You get, once again, great access to depth. I think you could be challenged with that. Maybe you would have some spraying and some overhitting if you're playing someone that really injects pace into you, but if you play with a controlled poly, you might have less of that spraying feeling. You would feel the bed a little bit more. I didn't have a ton of problems returning with this racket. I preferred to hit over with this racket because the ball penetrated the court so much with the spin and ball speed. But you can chip with this racket. It just might not be great or feel the best, but overall returns were decent. 7 out of 10 here. But yeah, once again, nothing special, gets the job done. If you really have time to take a nice big cut at a ball in the return, say a second serve, you're playing on clay, you're behind the baseline, you can really let this one rip and it will feel nice. Now to the power category. Now originally I would put this close to a 10 out of 10, but because of the problems I was having on the serve, I can't give it that full score, that full 100% score. It's so close that if I got a little bit more pump and oomph on my serve, I would be able to put it at a 10, but right now the serve let me down so much in this particular category that I actually have to slide it down to like a 7 out of 10. On the ground strokes, really good. You can really hit through the court with spin and power, but to be honest, on the serve, I was let down a lot. So that's why we're gonna sit it at a 7 out of 10. Now to the control category with this frame. For the most part, good. You're not supposed to get, control, precision, hit your spots like even these rackets that are sitting behind me, an E-Zone or even a Radical Extreme Pro. This racket is more in the territory of Pure Aero like control. You're getting the control from the spin, not from like placement, if you guys know what I mean. You are gonna hit the odd ball long. That should be just because of the properties of the racket. You need to be going after ball with this racket and you're gonna be rewarded, but sometimes you will miss, you'll miss wide. So for this racket, it's very good. If you're comparing control out of, you know, a CX line versus a control of a Pro Staff, it's very different. A Pro Staff type control is gonna give you precision exactly where you want it sort of thing, where this one, the precision comes from the spin in the control of this racket, so it's a little bit different. Both great, but just a little bit different. I lean towards more of that Pro Staff feel when it comes to the control, but I do play with an Extreme Pro, which just kind of sits in between those two. But it gets the job done. You just need to be aware of what you're playing with and what you're getting into. So for that reason, I give it a 7 out of 10. Maneuverability. This is another category that you do need to be aware of. It is blocky and bulky feeling. Sometimes players feel that with the Pure Aero. It actually doesn't feel as blocky in hand when you hold the racket in the throat or on the grip, but when maneuvering it up at net or on the return or through the air in the serve, it can feel like a block. I don't know how else to say it. A little slow, a little in slow-mo even. Just the shape of the racket can be a little bit weird to move through the air sometimes. If you have no problems with a Pure Drive, E-Zone 100, any Pure Aero line, then you will not have a problem with this whatsoever. But if you're coming from more control-oriented rackets and you're kind of getting you're trying out some more of these power spin rackets, you're gonna notice a difference for sure. This was one of the parts of this playtest that I didn't enjoy as much as say the Groundstrokes. I thought the maneuverability, I wish it was a little bit better. So for that reason, we're gonna put it at a 6 out of 10. Now to stability. This racket performed very well in this category. Up at the net, not many issues. Forehand and backhand, not many issues. Sometimes with these power type rackets, you know, for example, the E-Zone 100, I felt it was very light in the hoop. It was not sturdy. I could make contact in the middle of the bed with that racket and it just kind of felt like a fluff ball, or there was nothing on the ball. There was no mass behind the ball when making contact. With this, you feel like there's mass coming through the air for sure. This racket is sturdy. It has a great thick beam here. Even when making contact up in the hoop here, no problems. Up at the net, the racket didn't feel unstable at all. So really no issues in this category at all. I have to put it pretty high here, 8.5 out of 10. Now to comfort. Now this could be a controversial take for me on this racket. This racket is a 68 stiffness. That's quite high. You're like in like Pure Drive, E-Zone, Wilson Shift territory. Those rackets are pretty stiff. Pure Aeros, I think, it might be a little bit lower, but some of these rackets can be very hard on the arm. I did not have any issues whatsoever with this on my arm. That's with a full bed of restring sink at 50 pounds as well. I didn't feel any discomfort at all. So once again, that's me. Be aware that there is a chance that you could have arm pain with this racket. It is a 100 square inch. It is a thick beam. It is a high stiffness frame. I did have a very controlled stiff poly in here. So there is that chance that you could have arm pain, wrist pain, shoulder, even just fatigue. But overall, I didn't have any issues, so I gotta give it a fair grade. Considering it's these properties of the racket, I was very impressed. 7.5 out of 10, for sure. Could even maybe bump that up to an 8, but I'm feeling 7.5 today. But you could easily fix this, like, let's say I did have elbow pain or any discomfort, I would take this string out and put a different one in. Now for me, that would change the properties of this racket and how the ball comes off the frame. But for me, with this setup, no weight added, restring sink, no problems, 7.5 out of 10 for the comfort category. Touch feel, honestly, exactly what you would expect out of something like this. It's gonna give you what you need for this type of racket. What do I mean by that? It's just average, you know? You can play a drop shot. Does it feel good? Maybe not as good as playing a drop shot with a Blade or with a Pro Staff or with a Prestige or even my Extreme Pro. Those rackets you feel quite connected to, I feel like, and honestly, this is the most connected you're gonna get to this frame with a controlled string. I think. But yeah, it gets the job done. It's nothing amazing. Like I said, it performed well up at net. I'll really get into the slice and why I think that's really good. But touch and feel overall, I'm actually gonna just give it a 7 out of 10, pretty average. Now to Topspin, the last two categories here. Honestly, 10 out of 10 for sure, because the forehand, it's the highest launch I've ever seen out of any racket ever. You can really let this thing rip high and heavy. This is like a Spaniard's recipe for success on some red European clay. You can just stand 10 feet behind the baseline and just let it rip. High and heavy. This is going to be amazing for you. It does the same on the backhand. I personally enjoy it more in the forehand though, since I have a flatter backhand. But you can really let this thing rip with some heavy topspin. So you know what? 10 out of 10 here in this one. Also on the slice, really surprised. I thought that this was going to be more of like a 5 or 6 out of 10 type of racket on this category, but this one knifes through the slice very well. I was very surprised. You can play with it as well. You can push it deep, rides pretty low to the net. You can hit like a kind of fed chip slice that will run low to the net as well, but land around, you know, the service box a foot in to make your opponent come into the court. It performs very well in both of those categories. I can't give it a 10 out of 10, but I definitely can give it a 9 out of 10, and I was very surprised in this category for this particular racket. It performed very well. So guys, very interesting racket. I think this is knocking on the door for sure in that Pure Aero category, V Core 98. This is a racket that can be even better for some players. I think if you want to let it rip on the forehand, you love to play with spin, you're intermediate advanced and you like that extra access to power, you're gonna love it. For me, it performed great in all those areas. I just struggled with it on serve, and my serve is very important to me and in my game. But if you're someone that just loves to, you know, throw the serve in and rally, and you're kind of a grinder, maybe all court player a little bit, aggressive baseliner even, you might want to take a look at this one. This has a spot on the market, I'm telling you. So give it a go. I didn't even need weight on it either. That's one thing to put in this video. I did not add any weight. I didn't need it. I liked it stock. So guys, this is the SX 300 Tour restring sink, 50 pounds. Give it a go. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to buy it, check out Tennis On. You guys can use my code. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.